What's up, Duval? We got another win this week. Yeah, I was across the pond over in London, and got another game up in there. But hey, we're back to 2-2. Well, we're not at the top of the division, but I still think this is beginning of something better. So you already know what this is. This is Duval against y'all. All right, so tonight for this show, I'm going to be talking about the game. Obviously, I'm going to preview our Buffalo game. Then at the end, I'm going to tell you who I feel like we should be paying at the end of the year because we got some big guys contracts coming up. But you already know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. This is on the Toys Towers Network. You already know you can follow me on Twitter at blind_side_73. It's a great show today. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so of course we beat the Atlanta Falcons 23-7 in London for our first game in London. Of course we're staying there. We are staying over in London for this next week's game against the Buffalo Bills. It's good to see. It was good to get the win. I feel like we left a lot of points on the board still. I still feel like our offense still something off. I'm not sure if it's 100% Press Taylor because Doug's saying he's not calling plays, but if you watch the game, he looks like Doug's calling the plays, not Press. Or maybe it's a group effort now. I don't know what the issue is. I feel like there are some plays we need to stop. One of those was when we were in the red zone and at a 4th and 1. We try to pass it. We got Tank basically to get these short yardage plays. We got Trevor Lawrence, who's 6'6". We have ETN, who can usually get a yard. I still think it was a bad spot. I think he got the first down the play before, but I digress on the refs with that. But that's just one of those we just got to run it. I get it. We're not trusting the interior of the offensive line that much. Hopefully this week Cam's back from suspension. So as much as I love Walter Litter at left tackle, I think he's better than Cam at left tackle. But in order to get this offensive line better, we're going to have to put Walter Litter at guard probably, and put Cam back at left tackle. Even though I feel like Cam would be a great guard. The team doesn't see it that way. All through preseason was always Walter Litter at the guard, so I feel like that might help. Smoothie King's not ready. That's why obviously Tyler Shatley got the start last week. But because that's our issue. Our offensive line is bad. It's a mix between. That's what I think is holding us back as an offense. Offensive line play is not great, and Trevor has a tendency to try to go for the big shot first, instead of taking the check downs, because there are games like, even to be honest, even Calvin Ridley's touchdown, if you watch the tape, Calais Campbell's on ETN. That's a good play too. So I feel like he had 2 touchdowns on that play. But so we just need to work on that. Our offensive line got to get better. Buffalo's coming down. Von Miller may be playing. I really hope he's not. Just because I don't think Anton Harrison, who had a great game against the Falcons, I just don't think he's ready for Von Miller yet. He's going to have to eventually go against these elite guys. Like, looking at our schedule, I'm dreading the 49ers game. I don't think our offensive line is going to be able to handle Bosa, anybody. So we'll see how that goes. Personally, I think the offensive line needs a whole revamp for the rest of the year. And then the offseason, we'll go and figure out who stays, who goes. But I feel like we need to put everyone in their best place. I'm thinking we should have Cam at left tackle, even though I know I just said I don't like him. I feel like Walter Litter's better, but in order for this exercise, I feel like then we need to put Walter at guard. We need to put Shatley at center, and then Sheriff and Harrison. It may not be great, but Fortner and Ben Barcher are the 2 weakest links on the offensive line. Sheriff's not great, but he's hurt, so I'm giving him a little more of a pass. But Lou Fortner, that was his thing coming out. He can't handle big guys. And so he gets these huge, strong nose guards, and there's to eat his lunch, which is affecting everybody else. Trevor can't step up. So if one of the tackles are having an off moment, Trevor's running. That's good. I still think our running game, we need to get this. I feel like that might help our running game. Cam, no matter where he plays, will help our running game. He is our best run blocker. He's a great pulling left guard, or left tackle. So that's going to help. But again, I digress on what we need to do. Let's talk a little bit more about us winning with the Falcons versus the Falcons. Josh Allen had another 3-sack game. He's already at 6 sacks on the year when he only had 7.5 last year. The only negative, I guess, about this is it's showing that like the rest of we won't go get another edge rusher, which I feel like we need. Trayvon Walker still, he got a sack, but there's still plays and like, dude, where's your pass rush? He's a great power rusher, but if he has no other move, I feel like. And then we all know in Jacksonville, Chason, we don't like it, or we like him as a guy, but as a player, I'm want to see what Yasir Abdullah has. Dewan Smoot got taken off pup, so he has 3 weeks to practice. So maybe that should help some, given it Achilles injuries are usually killers. For at least it's usually the next year when they get it back. I mean, James Robinson, remember, he tore his, he's never got his back. Which again, D linemen usually are better at it, but we'll see. I think maybe that might be what they're doing for their. It's like see what happens with Smootty and Devon Hamilton get back, see if it gets better. I still think we need another guy. I think we need Trason needs to. I feel like Yusio Abdullah should get Trason's reps, and then we should get somebody else on top of it, like a veteran guy. But so it goes. But that 3 sack performance is making him money. He's showing what he can be if he has just a little bit of time. I mean, that was always the thing. He would get close, but our secondary was so bad that the ball was gone by the time he could get there. Our secondary was doing better. Darius Williams with the pick 6. That was nice. Almost had another interception, but he dropped it. He is getting beat a little bit deep, so I'm not sure if it's a him issue or if it's Jenkins, because that's usually who I see in the play when he's getting beat deep is Jenkins sprinting back there. Cisco had another pick. So that was good. I still think he probably would have scored if he hadn't fumbled as the guy coming by him. So I would have been 2 pick sixes, but luckily we fell on that. So that was great. But Rashad Jenkins isn't making plays like he was last year, that was always our issue. It's like, is it a 1-year thing or is it a fluke? I think that's why we also drafted Antonio Johnson, who still hasn't played yet. Hopefully he comes and plays soon, because I'm really interested to see what he has. If he shows what he can be, I think he's going to be the Jenkins replacement. It'll be him and Cisco, Cisco, and then Tyson Campbell on the other side. That's a great secondary right there. I don't think Darius will be back next year just because due to their finances. Him and Cam have the biggest cap hits next year, so I feel like that's going to affect, especially if we need to resign. But that was good to see. I feel like a lot of people are forgetting about Cisco because of all the good plays that Rashad Jenkins made last year. Like the game-winning plays, like the pick 6 against Dallas or the strip sack against Tennessee. So a lot of people forgetting, but Cisco's probably the better safety. He's a lot better in coverage than Rashad Jenkins is. Tackling in space, yeah. He got Bijan Robson down a few times, which was really great because Bijan Robson was making all of our linebackers look silly. Aluakon got juked out of shoes. Trad Muma, that was everywhere he got him so bad. Which again, I think Bijan Robson is going to be great for a couple years, and then the running backs usually end up something happens if they get hurt. The offensive line gets terrible. Or they just burn out. They remember Leonard Fournette, a great rookie, and that didn't do much. Saquon's had a couple good years, but they chose to pay Daniel Jones for the Giants instead of paying Saquon his money. But now look how that's going out. I think Bijan Robinson's better than all of them, so I'm not mad about what he was doing. I was a little mad he had a couple runs. I was like, he's the only guy we got to just shut that run down because Drake London isn't doing much. Desmond Ritter's not a great quarterback. Kyle Pitts, wasn't really a threat. So I was like, I felt good going into it, and I was proved right. A little scared of then, but we'll see how it looks. I hope this is a continuation of how the defense should play and how the offense can play. But there's a few things. Mostly the pass rush is what I think needs to get cleaned up. I like Chad Muma a lot. But again, I think we're seeing why Devin Lloyd's starting over him. Devin's just a little faster. And he doesn't get picked on as bad in coverage as Muma. Muma gets his hand up and knocks it down, but I think opposing offensive realize that's the guy you want to go. Him and Aluakon aren't great in coverage, but they're great run stoppers. But in coverage is in. I'm still hoping to see Aluakon's first interception as Jaguar, but I'm not sure if it's going to come. He almost messed up Darius Williams' interception. If you watch tape, he's like almost in Williams' space for it. But didn't matter. Williams got it, took it back to the house, touchdown. That was pretty much game over. So defense, I feel like that's pretty much all good. I mean, we got a good text next week with the defense with Buffalo. We've showed before that our defense can shut down that offense. Remember that Josh Allen versus Josh Allen game? We're going to rematch in London. I hope Josh Allen shows him who's the real Josh Allen again. I want to see another at least 2-sack game, which I think he's capable of because Josh Allen kind of moves around a little bit. I think he might run into one or two. Diggs versus Campbell is going to be an interesting matchup, but we'll see how that goes. All right, so with the offense, like I touched on it earlier, I feel like we left some points on the board. If it's still some bad play calling, Christian Kirk's looking like he's taking back the number 1 spot from Calvin Ridley. A lot of it, I think, is because they're doing coverage towards Calvin Ridley more than Kirk, but Kirk's burning them. So I think eventually it's going to have to go back and then Ridley's going to show up again. Really, because he only had really 2 catches. I mean, he had that 30-yard touchdown, but it was more of a busted play than anything. I know I'm also not impressed with Ridley because he's having a few dropping issues, which he's prone to have, obviously, for being gone for so long. But I really hope he clears that up. It's really hurting Trevor. Trevor's, I think he's like the second highest rated quarterback in Pro Football Focus, or top 5 at minimum. But his receivers lead the league in drops. And I feel like most of them are either Kirk diving for a catch and dropping it, or Ridley's just it's in his hands. He's bouncing off and looking for a flag. Hope he clears that up because I want to see this offense explode. But I don't know. And then, like I said, the offensive line needs help. Everything else fine. Ingram's looking great. I really hope our Ingram starts scoring some touchdowns. But last I looked, he was like in the top 5 in fantasy numbers, but he still hasn't had a touchdown, which is crazy to me. That's just showing how bad their tight end group is and how good Ingram can be yards after catch and everything. In the red zone, it looks like they're kind of trying to shut him down more than any of the other receivers, which I find kind of interesting. But hopefully, I think as we get into the meat of the season, now they're at the quarter mark, a lot of the offense is going to start exploding more because, I mean, we'll need it. Or the defense is going to have to carry us again, which that's going to start a whole nother issue. All right, so next I'm going to talk about this week Buffalo. All right, so Buffalo won their game last week, which personally I feel better about. I like playing a team depending on, I don't want like a long streak because then they're in their stride, but I'd rather face a team that won the week before than the team that's lost and looking for revenge and trying to get back around track. Against Buffalo, I feel like Josh Allen, he's good. He has these games where he can explode like that, like those 5 touchdowns, but he also has games where he can't score. Hopefully we get the bad Josh Allen for Buffalo, and that will help us hold this down. Zadarius White's out for the year with a torn Achilles, so that's another option for our receivers to step up. Hopefully Zay Jones is back. Because if Zay Jones is back, then as much as I like Agnew as a kickoff and punt return, I do not like him as a receiver. I I feel like we try to too many plays for him. Like some of the plays that we go straight to him I feel like should be like Kirk plays or Ridley plays, get him involved. It feels like if Ags is in the game on offense, it's 95% of the time it's going to be an end around or try to screen to him, and defenses know it. So we need to stop. I feel like he needs to either not play or we need to stop, get rid of all those Agnew only plays. Use them as like decoys. But so other than that, I feel like that's good. Like I said, Cam Robinson's back, so that should help the offensive line some. Smoothie probably should be back next week. I feel like Devin Lloyd's probably gonna be back next week. So when you play the Colts, I feel like we'll have a better defense, which is crazy because our defense is actually carrying us this year. While I would be cool, like a trade, I just don't think we have the cap space. Like I was hinting at earlier in the video, I just don't feel like there's anybody like a Devontae. We're not getting Devontae Adams. We don't need Devontae Adams. If you want to be honest, yes, he's probably at minimum the third best receiver in the league, but then it's Devontae, Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones. It's too much. Unless we traded Zay Jones to him, and then that's big play. Zay's gone. It's a whole thing. So I don't feel like we'll end up getting anybody, but I do feel like we may try to pick up like someone who gets cut. I personally wouldn't be, as long as he's mentally okay, I wouldn't be opposed to Chandler Jones signing him. He's already said he wants to play for Jacksonville, so I'll check out, make sure he's okay mentally and ready to go. It's just like a Oakland Josh McDaniels the issue, and ready to go. And let's get it. Let's get after it. Let's just try to get this run. But that's we should, especially. I mean, obviously, he wouldn't be here this week against Buffalo, but any game helps, especially with this turnaround that we're gonna have after Buffalo going to playing the Colts at home. But Anthony Richardson, who's looking a lot better, that's kind of looking a little bit too far ahead for me. But like I said, Buffalo, Josh Allen's a good quarterback who's a big guy, but like I said a minute ago, he is prone to having terrible games. So hopefully we get one of those for him. I feel like we can score with him as long as our offensive line can hold us up. I feel like we should be scoring with everybody. Really won't have an elite corner on him this week, so I feel like he should explode again. I still personally would start Christian Kirk in fantasy over him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ridley has a game. Ridley's more of a gamble for me, but we should be able to beat the Bills and then be 3-2 going into the Colts game, and then we'll see how the season goes. I don't feel like there's anybody who's a major liability now, but obviously we can always look to get better. I kind of want to see Elijah Cooks, 2D new receiver. Maybe one game we'll get him playing some instead of I think a Jacob Harris. I'm not sure if it's just because Jacob Harris plays better teams that we called him up as opposed to start having Elijah Cooks. But I just want to see I mean, that's a big body. We can throw him in the red zone, have him try to go up and get a touchdown. I feel like that's what we're missing because they double Ingram and nobody else is one of those guys that goes up and gets it. But because I feel like that's our only weakness. But hopefully we beat the Bills, and then we can keep it going. Well, that concludes this episode of the part 1 of my London trip with the Jaguars. I'll talk about next time. I'll talk about how I feel as a whole about this the 2 weeks in London. Hopefully it won't affect them too much. I know Dallas Shotley spoke out a little bit about it, but I hope the 2 weeks back to back is a little easier than week. If they go back the week and all that. But like I said, stay tuned next week. Again, like and subscribe. This has been Duval Against Y'all. Bro, just remember, it's Duval.
What's up, Title Tribe? We appreciate you watching the show. If you want to catch up on all of our college football content, make sure you subscribe to the CFB Nation by clicking their link below. Make sure you subscribe to the Toilets Titles Podcast Network by clicking our link below. And make sure to catch our other content by watching these videos to the